Welcome to the Life Curation Podcast. I'm your host, Andrina Tisi. Together, we will explore thoughts, inspirations, and conversations that feed our soul, spark the mind, and nourish the body. Thank you so much for being here to learn and grow, and for walking this journey called life with me. I'm so happy you're here to another episode of the Life Curation Podcast. And today I'm sharing a conversation with Anna Stando. And I just finished recording with her. And I'm filled with gratitude. And that goes right into the topic that we're talking about, which is gratitude, resilience. And we're also talking about passion and purpose. And some of you know that I also am very passionate about that topic. I also have a solo episode on my personal gratitude and manifestation practice, which I will link in the show notes. I do want to introduce Anna a little bit more because she wears many hats and does many different projects, is involved in many different things, and also has 2 children and a wonderful and powerful woman. So she is the founder of My Gratitude Challenge, which is a 28-day program that helps you to develop a more grateful mindset and build resilience. And when you listen in, we talk more about all of that. She's also an enthusiastic advocate of gender equality and social inclusion, actively involved in initiatives that drive this agenda forward. She is a relations manager at Advanced, a gender equality in business, a board member at Capacity, an organization that supports refugees and migrants who would like to build their business in Switzerland, and a co-leader of Lean In Switzerland, a vibrant network of business women. So you see lots of different hats and lots of different passion and purpose-driven projects she's involved in. Anna has a master's degrees in intercultural communication from the University of Utrecht in the Netherlands. She volunteered in Guatemala, studied in the Netherlands and Mexico, lived in Denmark, Thailand, and Switzerland, and worked all around the world. And she speaks 5 languages. She's a speaker, guest lecturer, frequent podcast guest, and a writer on topics of overcoming adversity, gratitude, gender equality, and diversity and inclusion. So many different topics that are so important. So I'm honored and grateful to have her in the podcast and as a guest here. I wish you lots of inspiration and enjoy. Hi, Anna. How are you? So good to have you on the Life Curation Podcast.
Thank you so much. It's I'm really happy to be here, and I'm good today. How are you?
I'm really good too. Really good. I feel like spring is in the air.
Yes, summer is out. Sun is out. Summer is almost here.
Almost here, yeah. That actually brings me to one of my first questions for you. Mm-hmm. What is your favorite season?
Yeah, summer probably. I love the sun. I love when it's warm. I love being outside and having also a little bit of certainty that the weather would be good. I am definitely somebody who enjoys the warmth much more than the cold. But absolutely love spring as well when everything comes to life. yeah, that makes me very happy. Kind of new beginning,
Mm-hmm.
warming up towards the summer season. Yeah, that would be for me.
And so we just dived right into it, and I have those icebreaker questions for everybody. So we'll just continue. What is your star signs, if you know more than one?
Aries, I think it's called Aries in English. Yeah, on 22nd of March.
Okay. Aries. Do you know your rising sign?
No. What is that?
It's kind of your second sign. I mean, there's so many, right? So it's kind of when you calculate your day, you can calculate it with your date, of course, and the time and the place you were born.
And how is that called, you said?
The rising sign.
Rising sign.
In German, it's the ascendant.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I want to know it now.
Well, you can calculate it. You just Google it and you'll calculate it, and then you get to know yourself a little bit better.
Great. I'm making a note. I know that I am number 9 when it comes to energy.
Like Enneagram?
Based on my date of birth only, I think. So it's called the energy number.
Okay. So many of these things.
Yes, exactly. I love all of them.
Totally. Okay, and we've just talked about that before we press record. Which books you currently have on your nightstand?
I'm really glad you asked, because I love talking about books, and there's always something that I am reading or listening to. I am also a big fan of audiobooks.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I come back to audiobooks sometimes multiple times as well. Mm-hmm. And I love especially audiobooks that are read by the authors.
Yes, very true.
Yeah, it adds so much character.
Yeah.
Yes. So what I am listening to right now is called Chillpreneur. Which, as you can imagine, is all about entrepreneurship in a chill way, by Dennis Duffield Thomas, and it's the second time that I'm listening to it. Actually, I like her personality and humor, and the tips, especially the second part of the book. I think it's great. And then I have 2 other books that I'm reading at the same time at leisure. One is called Good Vibes, Good Life. It's by Vex King, and it's all about mindset, a little bit about spirituality, well-being. I find it. I already know quite a lot about the topic, so it serves more like a good reminder, I would say. So it's a very simple read as well. So at leisure, I'm reading a little bit here and there. And then the last book that I have opened now, almost finished, but been going slowly because I've been finding it so helpful and useful and underlying a lot of things, is called How to Be an Inclusive Leader by Jennifer Brown. And I find it a really good framework. So I think those 3 books, they actually give you a very good impression of my interest. I'm working in the D&I space, diversity, inclusion, gender equality, especially important to me. Health, well-being, mindset work, and taking my first steps in entrepreneurship right now as well. So trying to get all the help that I can, and having many tabs open in my mind always. Nice.
I have questions about all of that.
Okay, happy to answer all your questions.
I'm gonna tap into that, but these are really, really interesting topics. I've not heard of any of those 3, so I'm really excited to look them up. Thank you so much. We also include them in the show notes so people can look them up. Last questions before right back into the topic. What is always in your fridge?
What's always in my fridge? Raspberries.
Raspberries. Oh, cool.
Yes. I have had multiple conversations with my boyfriend about the sustainability and sense of buying raspberries in autumn and winter. And and yet that's one luxury that I can't kind of live without. And I've managed to make my children addicted to raspberries as well. So we happily pay the price of raspberries around the year with a little bit of bad conscience. Yeah.
And soon they're going to be in season, so that's
yes.
you go and pick them themselves as well?
No, I don't know where, how, when we could do that.
They're like a strawberry. I know there's strawberry field.
Oh God, yeah. Maybe, yeah. I'm gonna look it up. I like the idea. We tried growing strawberries, with mixed results as well. That was a lot of fun. But not raspberries yet.
I think raspberries are a little bit more delicate. Anyway, I really want to dive into the topics, and one of my first question, because it's, I think, kind of an overarching aspect of your work and your life, is resilience. And also for me, I find it super fascinating, and I'd love to hear from you what resilience for you is, what it means for you, how you experience it.
Wow, you start really with deep questions. After the icebreakers. Yes, so resilience, a fascinating topic, I find. And yeah, what resilience is to me is the ability to bounce back from negative experiences. I think that bouncing back is really important. It's not, being resilient doesn't mean just ignoring all that negativity around you or any hardship that you might be going through. Is acknowledging that things might be hard, taking your time to work through the difficult emotions and the difficult feelings, and then when the time is right, moving on. So that's resilience to me.
It's interesting. It's like when you, just before you said it, I had the sentence bounce back in my mind. So I always have this these dolls, when you like, I don't know what they're called, but they're like these little wooden dolls, and you press underneath and they kind of collapse to the side. Then you really let go, they bounce back.
Okay. So I know what you mean.
Yeah, so it's kind of this bouncing back up. And now, how does gratitude play into resilience? Because you are, the founder of the Gratitude Challenge, and we'll dive even more into it. But I do want to hear from you the connection for you between resilience and gratitude, because I do think that's a really interesting aspect of it.
Well, I love that question, and I wish that I knew the answer to this question earlier in my life. Really. So, resilience and gratitude. So, imagine that everything goes right in your life, and I hope it's not difficult. Actually, I hope that's the case. Everything is fine, and you've got a lot of things to be grateful for. And if you take the time to formally acknowledge all the blessings, if you really take the time to think about them, right? To say, oh wow, I'm so happy and I'm so grateful that I'm healthy. I'm so happy and grateful that I have this beautiful house. I am so, so thankful that I have this person in my life. And I am so thankful to my friend who just invited me for coffee, and so on, and so on, and so on. If you really take the time to do that, if you generate those feelings of gratitude in your heart, right? So this really goes beyond just saying, yeah, thank you, or just knowing that, yeah, of course, you're grateful that you're healthy, you're grateful that you have a nice house, but you're just grateful on a rational level. If it doesn't connect really with your heart, if you don't feel your heart warming up, swelling with gratitude, then you're not acknowledging it really strongly enough. So it's kind of feeling, gratitude is a feeling that you have in your heart, and if you keep pausing often enough in your day to recognize and acknowledge all those good things, then it's going to build kind of a really big cushion for you, upon which you can fall if things go wrong in your life. Mm-hmm. And that's a metaphor that I borrowed from a researcher, Robert Emmons, who is really one of the key researchers on the topic of gratitude. And he puts it so nicely that practicing gratitude when things are right builds this kind of a psychological immune system, and gives you this cushion, right, upon which you can fall if things go wrong. So when they go wrong, because you've been so alert to all the good things in your life, it's going to be easier to keep acknowledging them and appreciating them. And you will know that even though something might be really difficult right now, you are very much aware of everything else that is good in your life, despite the circumstances. So that's how gratitude can help you, right, to get through a difficulty, helps you to bounce back, right? How it makes you more resilient because of that. Mm-hmm. It shortens often the time that you dealing with the hardship, or that you really feel affected in a negative way by it. And when things are wrong, right, and you have a lot on your plate, perhaps you're dealing with feelings of sadness or grief, or you're really, really angry about something, and you fear that you've been treated unfairly, and there's all those negative feelings going in your head, and it's hard, right, sometimes to still be grateful for something. And I'm not telling you that just be grateful and ignore all those things and just be grateful and that's the solution to everything. No, very much not. I very much believe that we need to take the time to acknowledge all our difficult feelings. We need to really feel into them to be able to release them. And only by actually acknowledging them and working through them, we will be able to get through them quicker. And I haven't done that in my life at a certain time, and it kind of got me back later, let's say. But if we can manage to work through those feelings and at the same time make an effort to still acknowledge the good things, right, then it's going to be easier to deal with the hardship again, because we are going to know that yes, this is hard, and I still have those amazing people about me, right? And still I am, or either I'm healthy, either I have, a beautiful roof over my head, and so on and so on. So gratitude is really like a counterbalance to all the negativity around you. It helps you, it protects you from hitting the rock bottom, right? Because if something really is happening that is life-shattering, it's so easy to just spiral down and end up feeling really depressed. And practicing gratitude, even though it might be really hard, it might be the last thing on your mind and the last thing that you want to do, and it might feel artificial at the beginning, helps you to offset those that load of all that negativity on your mind. So that's why gratitude is actually so important to practice when things are going right in our lives. This might come in handy later to be able to look at the bright side despite circumstances, and when we are going through something difficult, to still take the time to appreciate that actually not all is wrong in our lives, even if it seems like this sometimes.
Yeah, it reminds me, of that aspect of that not everything is black and white. Not everything is just quote unquote bad, or not everything is just good, right? And I think in what I experience with my gratitude practice, but also other practices and other routines, is that it is a little bit like, and we know that with habits, right? That of course can be like, supportive, or also a little bit quote unquote destructive habits, but they are like muscles. Like the more we the more we practice it, the easier it gets. And it also reminds me of this thing of like, okay, like I can see my anger, I can feel it, but I am not. Like I'm not identifying with it. You know what I mean? It's maybe it's a feeling that I have, but I can be angry, but I also can be super, in our topic, grateful about certain things, right? So I think, for me, that really also is a big shift because sometimes when you, like you said, like with the downward spiral, we have a feeling everything is just like completely overwhelming, right? So I think it's a really good aspect, and I love this image of this cushion. That's really good. His name was Robert Emmons. Is that what his name?
Yes, correct.
Okay, I'll look him up, and we'll also link him in the notes. Yeah, that's super interesting because I do find that really important to also look at the kind of the science behind it. And I would love for you, you touched on it a little bit, but I would love for you to maybe talk a little bit more about it, because sometimes it can be like, kind of especially in the spiritual scene where like, oh yeah, everything is happy and everything is like bros are clouds and we all love each other. And then but let's be honest, that's not reality, right? But then I do. And so then I think it's important to also look at, hey, what on a very like scientific level, hey, how powerful gratitude can be. And I can say how I've experienced it, and you have your experiences where, of course, I also want to hear a little bit about that, like what shifts it has made in your life. But before that, maybe just a little bit of the science. Can you share a little bit of that?
Yeah, sure. So again, I think research on gratitude is relatively new.
Yes.
It has been maybe, around 30 years, and Robert Emmons and his team and just a few more people in the world are really doing, scientific research into this field. But the first results are really encouraging. So definitely what we know by now is that gratitude makes you more resilient, right? There is no denying. It makes you more resilient to stress. Various experiments show that people who are grateful, they are able to cope better with stress, and as a consequence, they are healthier, right? Because we know that stress is one of the biggest causes of all sorts of illnesses nowadays. People who practice gratitude, they report to be happier as well, right? They find joy in every day. So that's not to be underestimated or undervalued. And there is evidence, there's some evidence coming up as well that, practicing gratitude regularly, and regularly is really the key element here, not just once in a while, and not just by saying offhand thank you, but actually being really focused on acknowledging all that is good in your life, has the power to kind of rewire your brain towards more positivity. It actually creates a new path. There are new pathways created in your brain that will help you to just look at the world through a little bit more pink glasses. Even though it's important that you work through your negative emotions as well, it will just makes it a little bit easier to appreciate everything else. Apparently, gratitude makes you sleep better as well. In a certain study, people who practice gratitude before going to bed, they reported better sleep afterwards, which is, I think, really, really interesting. It strengthens your relationships as well, right? When we practice gratitude, then people often, when we practice gratitude, when we're saying thank you, when we appreciate all the good that other people are doing for us, obviously it makes them feel good, and it also makes them want to help us, right? So it really helps to strengthen that relationship. But different studies show as well that when we practice gratitude, right, and focus on the positive, all our partners, our families start to notice that there is a shift in us, that we are, and they like to be more around us, right, because we become a little bit more positive, and they like that new version of us. And a new field as well is about gratitude and reaching goals, and it still hasn't been really like researched very extensively, but I just want to believe in it, so I hope it's true. But in one study by Robert Emmons, again, they found out that those who practice gratitude made more progress towards their goals. And in particular, in that research, of certain students, they wrote a list of goals that they wanted to achieve in 6 weeks. And some of those students just needed to work towards those goals. And other students, on top of writing those goals, they needed to keep a gratitude diary and write in it just once a week. And they found out afterwards that the students who practice gratitude, they made 20% more progress towards achieving their goals. And of course, there's a lot of questions about, the goals might have been different. How do you measure 20%? Is it really related to gratitude, and so on? But I think the case is quite compelling, right? If we agree that practicing gratitude strengthens your relationships, and we know how important relationships are for achieving our goals. And that if we have, if we are appreciative of the people who help us, those people will want to help us more with our goals as well. If gratitude helps us to sleep better, then we may wake up feeling more energetic to actually work towards our goals as well. And we deal with stress in a better way. We are able to put the stress aside and actually focus on what needs to be done. So I find it fascinating, and I look forward to seeing more studies and more evidence, that will show us how important gratitude is to our mental well-being, but also actually towards achieving our goals.
Yeah, I think, like so many things in our lives, it's a ripple effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I see that in
not standalone thing.
Exactly. And I see it so much in my working with my clients where, they come and they don't even know where to start. And I'm like, okay, let's, in one side, we'll go really big and look at the whole picture. But at the end, we'll really narrow it down to starting with one thing, where to focus on, right? And then knowing, like you said, well, if I sleep better, I have better energy in the morning, that I can work out. If I work out, I feel better in my body. If I feel better in my body, I'm maybe more confident, and I feel more love towards myself. So it's all like this. And then if I feel more love to myself, I can show more love to, in my relationship. So I think and I love these ripple effects, right? That what you explained too. So it makes, for me, completely sense. And my gratitude practice is very much linked to my manifestation practice, right? So I do them kind of at the same time. And
I love that.
Manifestation and goal setting is not exactly the same, but still, I go into this zone of future desire and if I'm in this space, and if this energy of gratitude, like I'm like poof, open, right? Right. And I did record, like last fall, I did record a solo episode on that. So I will also link that in the show notes for people to listen to. I do want to go into a little bit of two directions, and let me think. Okay, one aspect of, in terms of the gratitude, because there's different ways we can practice it, in terms of, we can, you mentioned something, before bed, or of course there is gratitude journals, or I do mine audio, so I record it.
Oh wow.
So there's some people visualize it, or like embody it or whatever. So well, one question is like, well, how do you do it? and also, what do you teach? Because, you know, you have your workshop coming up, so I'm curious about that. I'm sure the listeners as well.
Yes, wow. Well, so my gratitude practice is quite elaborate at this point, right? Because I've been on it for a while. Yeah. So I've got, you know, gratitude for what was, gratitude for what is, gratitude for what will be, right? But very much linked to what you said about manifestation, vision boards, visualization. All that is part of me, and the way I practice, right? I do practice by writing things down. I love the connection between the pen and the head. And I think it really, what I love about writing down things is that it makes you to slow down as well. And it helps you to actually take the time that is needed to appreciate what you have. And another you know thing that I do is called 2-minute gratitude practice, and also something that I teach in my gratitude challenge, and everyone can do it, you know, starting today. The idea is that you find a pocket of time in your day where you have 2 minutes where you are doing something, but that is cognitively not very difficult. So you notice that your mind is going, you know, is wandering, is thinking about the weather, or is worrying about something, or, you know, is planning the shopping list, or, you know, something like that. So that might be when you are brushing your teeth, or when you are waiting for the elevator, waiting at the bus stop, or when you are walking your dog, or, you know, anything like this. You're actually busy with something, you're loading your wash, but you know, you've done it 1,000 times. You don't need to spend any mental power on the activity itself. So your mind wanders to something else. So identifying that 2 minutes in your day where you do something, you know, every day or almost every day, and deciding that when you do that, you're going to take the first 2 minutes on thinking thoughts of gratitude, rather than allowing your mind to go straight away to all the other, you know, what if scenarios and planning. So, for example, for me, that's making my coffee. Right, I go to my Nespresso machine, I pour the water, I press the button, and I'm standing there and really watching the button light up, and then watching the coffee pour in. And I take the time to, you know, to think, okay, sometimes I come in, you know, between the meetings, and it's, you know, a crazy day, and I press the coffee and I think, okay, what can I be grateful for right now, right? And I take really the time to think about all those good things in my life. So it's a good interrupter in the day, and a good practice to be mindful and be present in the moment. So, you know, that's just one thing that can be done. And at the end, I think there are so many interesting things, so many interesting ways of expressing gratitude. And in my gratitude challenge, which is 28 days, we try something else every single day. And the idea is that you then pick up all the things that resonated with you especially, and that you keep doing them beyond the program. So that comes back also to your point about building a habit. Right? And often we think that, you know, being grateful is easy, but actually the opposite is true. We might think that, you know, being grateful is easy when things are going right. But the truth is that we get used to the good stuff so quickly that we stop, you know, appreciating it. And we may have many other beliefs around gratitude. One of the most common in our Western world is this, that we should make it to the top on our own, and we are very, you know, proud of our success. Yes. And we have worked hard for that success. So for some people, it's difficult to kind of marry the thought of I have worked hard for my success with the feelings of gratitude, because they see them as in opposition, whereas they aren't. So I could talk about the different practices, probably for an hour. So
yeah,
I hope this gives you an idea.
What I found is what I love, and people who know me and who have listened to the podcast also for a little bit, they know how much I love the somatic aspect and the embodiment practice. And what you just said about, doing something while you practice it. Oh my God, it's so good, because it's then again this embodiment, right? And just when you were talking, it came so many different things how I watch myself, how that happens. Like, one of the things is that, with mantras and mudras, right? That's so powerful in their own way. But one of my favorite mantra and mudra is, Satanama, and you do it with your fingers, where it's then the connection to the brain, because you have it in your fingertips and you do the movement of the mudra. And I've practiced this meditation so many times over a longer period of times, and not every day, but like I've had different aspects of this meditation, and I notice how I can do this just like Satanama, and I switch into a different state of mind. And the other thing is with tapping as well, right? Like what I practice, and it's so like the subconscious is so strong. And then the other thing, and then I'll stop.
No, I want to hear all about it. And I want to try now too.
Well, and the other thing is I found again very interesting is the conditioning, and that's what I see with my dog. Right. And we are an animal too. I can open the balcony door and she hears the noise and she thinks there's food coming because her food basket is outside on the balcony. Right. And it's also conditioning, and we can condition ourselves too in a positive or, negative way too. Of course, she's also, my dog is also conditioned that, because she had a bad experience with fireworks, like many dogs have. So she gets, as soon as there is like a big noise, she gets scared, right? That's also conditioning, right? But I think, so I love that embodiment coupled with the gratitude practice. And I think that's what you said in terms of the writing and the connection to the mind and the pen. I know that is also, really powerful, but yeah, and I'm going to implement that. I love it, right?
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And we know from the science of habit as well, right, that adding a new habit to something that you're already doing, or having a cue, right, to be reminded that this was the new habit that you wanted to work on, is key to make it a success. So the more we can condition ourselves, the more cues we can have, the more we can help ourselves to be successful at any new habit that we want to create, including the habit of gratitude.
Absolutely. I want to switch a little bit and get a little bit more personal for you, because you wear so many different hats in your personal life, but also in your private life. How many children do you have? Two. Yeah. And you work, I don't know how many different jobs. 4.
I am involved in a few initiatives. Yes, that's correct.
I can relate, but I don't have children.
I know.
I quote unquote only have a dog, but yeah.
Only.
Exactly. My first question is, how do you do it? And, a few weeks ago we had I'm going to say offline. We were on Zoom, but not recorded conversation. And we talked a lot about passion and purpose. And I think it ties really nicely into the topic of gratitude. So yes.
Yeah, sure. Very happy to share. Yes, it ties together as well. And I think finding gratitude for the privilege to be able to choose where I work and how I work, and that I have the power to choose as well, really, that I don't work just to earn the money, but that I can have jobs and that there are opportunities, and in the part of the world that I live, that this is all possible for women, and for all of us is one. So I have been indeed on a journey to get here. So maybe as an introduction, so indeed I do a few things. So I am the founder of my gratitude challenge, which is really a passion and purpose project as well, really born out of my own experience, when I discovered gratitude for the first time in a dark period of my life, and how much it helped me, and being the person that I am always very passionate about sharing all the good things that I come across. I want everybody to benefit from them as well. That's what led me ultimately to my gratitude challenge. But that's one. Another thing that is really close to my heart is diversity and inclusion and gender equality, and actually contributing to making the world a little bit better. And I know that sounds cheesy, but I think by now I have had the opportunity to engage in projects that do that all in one way or another, one step at a time. So I'm a relations manager at Advance, Gender Equality in Business, where we help companies to get more women into leadership positions, which is incredibly important.
Which is a whole other episode.
Which is another topic, exactly. And then I'm also a board member for a nonprofit organization called Capacity. And this is where we help migrants and refugees in Switzerland to start their own business or a sociocultural initiative. And we create a wonderful community of support, and not only by providing, the knowledge and the network, but also by providing a really safe space for people to find themselves, again in this new situation. And I'm also involved with Lean In, which is a women's organization, women's network for businesswomen, but women who are entrepreneurs, and anything really in between. So actually, Lean In was the first thing that I came across here in Switzerland when I came, I think, by now 9 years ago. And being involved in Lean In and seeing, that support of, women supporting women, and that drive and that energy, that was something that was so valuable for me. I learned so much also about, gender inequality and as extension about other diversity and inclusion topics. And every time I was in the room and in a meeting with other women, I felt so good, right? And I felt like I really want to help. I really want to support. I want to have that energy every day, and that's what ultimately led me to work at Advance and at Capacity, where I first was a volunteer, then a team member, then ultimately a board member as well. And beforehand I worked in sales for a very long time, and I loved it for a very long time as well. And I was in roles where I was responsible for sales to Europe and later for sales to Asia. So I really traveled extensively for especially those two continents, but also outside. And at that time of my life, it was just amazing, incredible. And I was, till now, I feel very grateful that I have had this opportunity. And at certain time, it felt not enough. Right, I was selling shoes and I was selling shoe-related accessories. So you need to think about shoelaces or inlay soles or shoe care products, all important. And I was also selling high-end leather goods, handbags, wallets, belts, and so on. So an interesting combination. Yet, it wasn't something that was fueling me. I knew at I wanted to talk about something else than, leather goods and shoe related accessories. And I tried sales somewhere else, thinking first that, the problem wasn't really the product, but maybe it was just time for a change. But that didn't turn out to be true. It was really more about, wanting more purpose, and having more contact with, the end user, let's say, and seeing and hearing people benefiting from initiative or product that I develop and work on. So that was the journey for me on finding passion and purpose.
Yeah, and I think it's such purpose. I think it's becoming more and more important in people's life to feel that purpose. I feel especially in, we live in Switzerland, we have everything, we have everything, we are safe, so I feel purpose. I also know for me, like how this is driving my work and my life, and similar of what you said, making this difference is such a powerful energy, right? And I think what also came to my mind is, the difference between burnout and bore out.
Yes.
And I find it fascinating that, we can work, quote unquote, so much, but if we're, if you feel the fire in our heart and this purpose and passion, it doesn't matter, right? Because we're fueled by something else, right? But if we don't feel that, we can, maybe, after, work 4 hours and we are stressed, and then we circle so nicely back to the gratitude aspect, right?
Yes. And what you said about the bore out and burnout is it's really interesting, I think, and having a passion project or work that we're really passionate about. I think if we have a work that we're really passionate about, we are not at risk of suffering from bore out, right? That will never ever happen, which is a thing to be grateful for sure. But what has been said about having a job that you're really passionate about is also true. I believe that they say, having a job with a purpose and loving the job that you have is kind of a blessing and a curse, because you can, right?
That's true.
Yes, because as you said, we are still at the risk of a burnout, because we're so passionate, we're so fueled for so long, right? We've got all those ideas floating in our head. We've got all these external motivators. We see the impact, right? We just want to go. and it's still, and therefore it's so important that we still take the time to take care of ourselves, right? And to relax a little bit, put our own oxygen mask first, right? Before we save the world, right? And make the world a better place. And only if we thriving, only then we will be truly able to contribute to others. Yeah.
Very true. Wow. We can talk forever. I love it. I love my guests, because I always feel like I can talk forever. Circling back to your gratitude challenge, because it's coming up and I want people to know about it, because it's such a good project. And I think it's, like you mentioned, I have my own gratitude practice and I feel the power of it. So tell us a little bit more about it, where people can sign up, what to expect, and of course we'll link to it so people can also see it in writing.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to share. Yeah, my gratitude challenge is really a passion project for me. I have, I've created it when I was on a maternity leave with my daughter. And, around 2 years ago, I really discovered a power of gratitude for the first time, right? Before I thought, yeah, sure, I'm grateful, I'm saying thank you where due. I guess on the rational level, I am grateful for the opportunities that I have had. But 2 years ago, I found myself a little bit down, or maybe quite a bit down. I was, heavily pregnant, not feeling great. The world was a scary place because of the pandemic, and the US elections were affecting me more than they really should. And I really find it hard to get out of bed sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it's really through the practice of gratitude, even on the days where I didn't want to practice at all, when I was waking up and feeling I hate my life, right? I I really have nothing to be grateful for. I'm tired, I'm in pain, I don't, nothing to be grateful for. And even on those days when I was kind of pushing through, making myself to feel grateful, I could really feel the power of it, and my mood lifting, and finding new energy, at least for a few more hours in the day. And that's what ultimately, drove me to create my own program, my Gratitude Challenge. It's a 28-day program where we discuss, the various benefits of gratitude, why is it hard to practice it, how to practice it, all the science behind gratitude, and all those, innovative, fun, creative ways of doing it a part of your life. So every day there is a theme and there is a video where we talk about something, and every day there is a task, a mini challenge for you to do. So very much about this embodiment, what you said, right? I very much believe that you not only need to think the thoughts of gratitude, but you actually need to do something as well. So the video is 5 minutes, followed by by the exercise. And on top of it, you receive home your own gratitude box. It's actually a physical box with 6 symbolic yet delightful surprises, and you can open them on certain days of the challenge. And what you find inside is related to your task that day. So they help you to execute on your task, and they are guaranteed to make you smile. So the gratitude box really always receives a lot of love from the participants. And for some, it's also an external factor to kind of keep up with practicing every day, because they really want to open the next goodie and see what's inside. And then on top of it, there is a Facebook group and 2 live calls. These are all optional. Some people prefer to do the challenge on their own and keep the takeaways for them. Some other, love the community aspects as well. So that's also available. And indeed, the registrations to the next round are now open, and they close already on May 15. Mm-hmm. And then the official start is on May 30th. And we go for 4 weeks, for 28 days. And if people are interested in hearing more, the website is called mygratitudechallenge.com. And we're also on Instagram and on LinkedIn.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I do think that the power of the community is very, very strong. So and it's so cute when you say how people get excited about the book. It's always a little child in us, right? Where we're like, get a gift, and yay, what is it?
Yes, exactly.
So cute, right? Yeah. It's so sweet that you do that too. And I think again, that's another part of the embodiment practice, right? To also include different senses, right? So that's super sweet.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for all that you shared, for your wisdom and your passion.
Pleasure.
I can really feel it. So that's so beautiful to see, and for your time.
No, thank you so much for the invitation to be here and to learn from you. I'm going to look up the rising sign right now. And thank you for creating this space to have those conversations.
I love podcasting and I love my guests, and I always learn so much and I get so inspired also with this conversation with Anna. And I hope you also feel that way, and maybe you have some ideas and some inspiration to start or continue your gratitude practice. And if you want to join Anna in her 28-day journey, like she mentioned in the conversation, it starts on May 30th, and you can save your spot until May 15th. So do it now. And the way to sign up is linked in the show notes. You can also find it on mygratitudechallenge.com. Also, if you sign up to the newsletter, you get a short video with 3 simple ways to include gratitude into your daily routine, and exclusive offers and information about the upcoming challenges. So I encourage you to do that. In the show notes, you also find the links to the books she mentioned at the beginning, as well as the book Thanks by Robert Emmons, which she mentioned about the science and the research on gratitude. So super interesting. You will also find the link to the episode where I share my practice. And I am really grateful that you're here, that you're listening in and allowing me to be part of your day, part of your life. Enjoy and have a really, really good rest of your day, rest of your evening, wherever you are. Bye. Take care. Talk soon.